I don't know what it is about pain that we find kind of fascinating. Is it so that we know what to avoid in life? I don't know the answer. I'm just here to respond to your overwhelming demand to make this video. My name is Burke and this is the top 10 most painful experiences in the world, part 2. Also make sure you go and check out our merch page if you haven't done so already. You can get shirts and hoodies and even this hat. Not this exact one, but yeah, go and check it out. Starting off at number 10 now, we have tetanus. This is a bacterial disease that affects the nervous system, leading to painful muscle contractions. Common symptoms include jaw lock and tightening of the neck muscles. It's said to be extremely painful. Even more serious is that the jaw locking can cause a person's breathing to suffer to the point where death is a real possibility. It's often caused by a puncture injury into the skin. Now, while there is no known cure for it, there is a vaccination for it. I've had it. I hope you guys have had it too. If you're old enough, I wouldn't want any of you to go through this kind of pain. At number 9 now, we have the breaking wheel. So we had a little bit of torture going on in our last video, and this one is no different. This form of capital punishment came from medieval times in Europe. It involved the condemned being lashed to a wheel and then their limbs were beaten until they broke. As you'd imagine, this was pain like no other. However, what made this so bad, I think, is just how long the pain lingered. After having their bodies broken, some of the condemned would survive for days afterwards, being kept alive in order to cause maximum pain. Alright, at the number 8 spot now, we have peritonitis. This is an inflammation of the tissue that lines the wall of your abdomen. This is caused by leakage of the intestines. That's obviously not something that's supposed to happen, and the result is excruciating pain. The pain is for good reason too. If left untreated, it almost always causes death. Bit of an interesting one up next at number 7 now, we have second-degree burns. Now, I'm sure you've all heard of third-degree burns, when a burn tears through all the layers of the skin and affects deeper tissues. It's obviously more serious in the medical sense than a second-degree burn, which only reaches the lower layer of the skin. However, some people argue a second-degree burn is more painful because the nerve endings don't get entirely destroyed, so you end up feeling the full lingering pain. They argue that at least with a third-degree burn, many of the nerve endings are destroyed to the point where the area just feels numb afterwards. Have any of you guys ever had second or third degree burns before? I would be interested to know if we had some personal stories to back this one up. Next up at number 6 now, we have psychological pain. This was something that a lot of you guys mentioned in the comment section of our last video, and yes, it obviously is very painful. Psychological pain may just be all in the head, but that's not to say it's not very real, and it can come in many different worrying forms. Ask anyone suffering from PTSD, depression, grief, or someone who's been a victim of psychological torture. They'll probably say that this is one of the most painful things they've ever had to go through. Moving on to number 5 now, we have gonadal torsion. As the name suggests, this is kind of a slang name for any torsion of the gonads, the male or female reproductive organs. In women, ovarian torsion involves an ovary rotating so much that it blocks a vein or an artery, restricting blood flow. The same goes with men's testicles in testicular torsion. Either way, the pain is said to be excruciating. I know that because one of my friends had testicular torsion once and likes to tell the story about it at least once a year. Sounds horrible. Next up at number 4 now, we have the Stonefish Sting. The stonefish is one of the most venomous fish on the entire planet. They are covered in needle-like spines which inject a dangerous neurotoxin into anything they feel threatened by. Unfortunately for humans, they're also very good at camouflaging themselves amongst underwater pebbles, hence the name stonefish. Now this means that every year, swimmers all over the Pacific step on them and end up in a lot of pain. As the toxin spreads, so does the pain, sometimes causing the entire foot and leg to swell up. Next up at number 3 now, we have complex regional pain syndrome. Sometimes after an injury that requires surgery, pain appears out of nowhere on the body with no obvious cause and not many ways to treat it. This is called complex regional pain syndrome. It just really hurts. Sometimes the pain may start in one limb and then spread to the whole body. Doctors have been desperately trying to find exactly what causes this and how to treat it, but the results have not been too hopeful. Perhaps that's the real scary thing about CRP. We can see the effects, but we don't know how to stop it. Alright, next up at number 2 now we have Irukandji Syndrome. This one is kinda terrifying. If you ever get stung by the Irukandji jellyfish, it's not going to hurt at first and will probably just feel like a little mosquito bite. Over the next half an hour though, the pain will slowly increase up to unimaginable levels. There will be severe headaches, muscle pains, nausea, vomiting and backaches that just keep getting worse. However, what makes this one quite unique is the feeling of impending doom that sufferers feel. Patients have reported being certain they are going to die and begging doctors to kill them. And finally at number 1 now we have Trigeminal Neuralgia. Also known as Fothergill's disease, this disorder involves the inflammation of the trigeminal nerve that we all have inside of our heads. If this happens, one doctor describes the pain as exquisite. It's a sudden, shock-like pain on one side of the face that can last from a few seconds to a few minutes. It's said to be kind of like a knife just being stabbed into your skull. There have even been cases of people killing themselves because of the pain or just the fear of knowing when it will strike again next. Well, that was another video about pain, but hopefully you didn't find it too painful to watch. Give it a like if you enjoyed it. My name is Danny Burke. Thanks for watching as always guys, and I will see you all in the next video. Oh look, there's part 1 of this video right up there on the right next to your thumb, I'm guessing. Give it a tap if you guys haven't seen it already. Okay, bye bye.